Well, hello there, and welcome once more to the Open Door Show from Property CEO. My name's Dan Nelson, in case you didn't know already. Maybe you're new to this channel, who knows? It's great to have you here today. And over the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of small scale property development. And we have a great guest on with us today. As always, we like to talk to some of the movers and shakers out there in the industry who can give us the inside track on what's happening in the world of property. And we also like to shine the spotlight on areas we think could be a good opportunity for new developers to take a look at. But above all, we're going to have a little bit of fun doing it because life's just too short. So, what have we got coming up for you on today's show? Well, on today's show, I'm delighted to have one of Property CEO's very own students. Aisha's going to be here with us. She's going to be joining us, and she's going to be giving new developers just like you and those interested in getting into development some advice on how she got started and some of the things that you should be looking for, where the opportunities are. And she may even mention the importance of a good education. So without further ado, I'd like to give a very warm welcome to Aaisha Qureshi. Aisha, are you there?
Hi, Dan. How are
Hey,
you?
it's good to see you. Yeah, good to
Good to
see you
see
again.
you
How's it
too.
going?
Yeah, really good. Thank you for having me on.
Listen, absolute pleasure. Well, you're definitely a mover and shaker out there. I know
Oh, I don't know about that.
I've heard what you've been up to. It's brilliant. Would you like to introduce yourself to the lovely audience? I'm sure they'd like to know
Of
who you are.
So my name's Aisha Qureshi. My company is MHBQ Developments Ltd. I'm a small-scale property developer, undertaking my first property development project. I'm also a mentee of Property CEO, and it's through the mentorship that I've gone out and got my first deal.
Excellent. That's amazing. And how long have you been working with us now for?
Oh, so I started in December 2022. I actually met you in October 2022 at Old Trafford. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, goodness. Yeah,
The
that's going back
landlord
some.
investment show. Yeah.
Yes.
So quite a while ago.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, and Aisha, by the way, folks, is a real go-getter. Okay, so Aisha, can you tell us a little bit about your background, what you were doing before you got started in small scale development? I think that'll be really useful.
Yeah, sure. So I'm previously an ex-corporate real estate banker. So I was on the other side of the fence, supporting in lending for property developers, landlords. So I understood all that side of it. And then I had this big myth after I had my son that I wanted to be self-employed. So I went out and trained as a driving instructor. When I was made redundant from banking, I walked out of banking and went into driving instructing. Big myth. When you're self-employed, you can work for yourself and you can choose your own hours. No way. In fact, you work
Mm.
harder when you're self-employed in comparison to when you're employed. But been doing that for well over a decade. Absolutely loved it. And then I tend to call myself these days an accidental landlord and an intentional developer.
I
So
like it.
I myself a couple of buy-to-lets, no education, no understanding of anything, just kind of dived in and went, got a bit of money, I want to put it somewhere, let's do this, thinking it would be a great idea. Bad idea, very bad idea. um, I had these two flats and I was like, right, I need to find out how to be a landlord. I have no idea what I'm doing here. So as I just mentioned, I went to the landlord investment show down in Old Trafford in October 2022. I
Yeah.
came across Richie, and the rest is history, really. Um, saw his seminar, and he was really good in terms of what he explained and what could be done.
Hmm.
Obviously came across to yourself and then had a good chat with Ian.
Yes.
Did the fast track, and then went for it.
Fantastic. And so it's MHBQ.
Okay.
So what's MHBQ? Tell us a bit about MHBQ.
MHBQ is dedicated to my late parents, so it's their initials. So my late father was Mukhtar Hussein Qureshi, and my mother's name was Batul Fatima Qureshi. And MHB is my son's name, Mohammed Hashim Beg, and
Oh,
he's
wow.
actually on the journey with me. He's been in the room. I don't know if you know that, Dan.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I met him.
yes, I think you
I'm
did.
sure I did on one of the
Yes.
academy days or developers clubs. I'm
Yes,
sure. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yes.
yep, he's been in the room. He helped me choose the project, got me putting the offer in. He's been on the site surveys. Yeah, absolutely loving it.
That's amazing. That is a really an amazing story, isn't it? Because a lot
Yeah,
of families
definitely.
behind it, a legacy.
Yes,
Yeah, that's brilliant.
definitely.
Now I know, I'm not sure if you can share this with the audience. I know you've been working very hard in the background on a few things, haven't you?
Yes.
There is something in particular, there's a project you've been working on in particular. Can you share some details around that? What you've been working on, how you found it, any
Okay.
sort of, challenges you may have had, where you're currently at with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a building I was looking at in April, just before I'd gone onto my first academy day.
Hmm.
I looked at it, I saw it was in a conservation area, and then I backed out of it. And I thought to myself, I don't want to do this. This is too big a building for me. I don't have enough experience. I
Uh-huh.
can't do this. And so I walked away. In the summer, my son finished his GCSEs, and so he went on the hunt with me because I was like, I can't find anything and I need to have a deal by the end of the summer. That was the target I'd set myself. And we saw this building again.
Uh-huh.
And he goes, Mum, why don't we go for this? And between April and when we saw this building in August, I'd had quite a lot of education by then, understand a lot more about how to put together a deal, doing the high level sort of analysis of it.
Hmm.
Um, and we went and visited. And then we went, okay, let's take the jump. And we did.
Amazing.
So what is it? It's a light industrial warehouse. It's a former antiques warehouse. I have a thing about warehouses and mills. I absolutely love them.
Yeah, we've spoken about this, haven't we?
Yeah,
It's like a magnet. They seem to find you, don't they?
yeah,
These
yeah.
projects.
Previously, it was a car dealership as well. So my architect keeps saying, "What is it with you and car dealerships? You seem to like them." So warehouses and car dealerships. Who knew? So where are we with it? Well, the plan is to convert it into 11 high-end flats. The location is Morecambe.
Mhm.
I'm not sure how much you know about Morecambe, but
I
the first,
know a little bit because I think I know a little bit about this project because it's not too far back from the seafront, is it?
that's right.
In a
Yeah,
really, really good location.
absolutely.
Mm.
And out in Morecambe as well, there is currently the prospects of the development of what's called the Eden Project, which is an environmental horticultural tourist hotspot. That's the plan for it. They've got one in Cornwall,
Hmm.
and the gentleman who's coordinating it, Cy Bellamy, he's now running this one. Fingers crossed, spades go in the ground at the end of 2024. If they do, they'll be running in timeline with my development, so I won't be
Wow.
complaining.
Yeah,
Um,
that's incredible.
they plan to complete that by 2027, they're saying.
Hmm.
So it's an exciting area, a lot of regeneration, a lot of investment going in there. There's been various developers doing high-end things. I wanted to make my mark.
Yeah, I think you'll set up. The plan is to set a new precedent in the
Absolutely,
area. You're going to put a kind of a nice spec for the product.
definitely,
The end product's going to be very nice.
very much so. Yeah,
And I think you'll have the ability to even hold and rent because you'll
yeah,
have, I would imagine there's going to be a big rental demand if there's a huge
yes,
amount of work going on. There's going
yes,
to be people looking to
absolutely.
rent.
Yeah, definitely. So
Um,
it's a fantastic opportunity. I've got the team, and
yes,
we're all working towards it. Everybody's in line with the vision, and we've got all the synergies.
yeah.
Everybody, to be honest, is excited by it. I think they're excited by the fact that I'm a first-time developer.
Hmm.
They're excited by the building. Everybody who's come and had a look at the building in terms of the team, they've gone, "You're onto something here. This has got to work."
Brilliant. Well, I've seen some of the impressions. You've had a couple of like 3D renders done,
Yes.
and I've seen it, and that looks impressive. It
Yeah.
does look impressive. And what would you say some of the challenges have been, Aisha? Because it's all good for us to talk about all the positives, this, that, but
Yes.
there are naturally challenges along the way. And I think it's important. Would you be able to share some of the challenges with us?
I think the first thing is finding the right property.
Hmm.
It's very time consuming, but you've got to stick at it and you've not got to lose heart.
Yeah,
And you've got to, it is true what they say, and I'm going to sound like Richie and Ian, but you do have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find the one.
absolutely.
We certainly did that. We looked at quite a lot. Um, the other challenge is, although you want things to progress quickly, development isn't a quick process.
Hmm.
There are various things that have to happen in a certain order. to be able to get to the point that you want to be. I think as an ex-banker, I'm more risk averse. So I do like having all my ducks in a row, making sure we're getting each green light along the way, and then proceeding. Having a great relationship with the vendor, if you can, is really important. I mean, we're at the point we actually hug each other when we see each other every time, so it's great.
Excellent.
And they're quite excited to see what we're going to turn it into as well.
I bet.
So yeah.
And you've pulled the team together, right? Like
Yes.
you've gone off and you've found your QS,
Yes.
your architect, your
Absolutely.
planning consultant,
Yes.
they've all kind of sort of you've gone
Yes.
off and pulled all of these the whole team together,
Absolutely.
haven't you?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Purely through networking, other people, knowing other people, introductions, some of it just going out directly myself, talking to people.
Hmm.
Yeah, so at the moment in the team, we've got a non-exec, we've got planning consultant, we've got quantity surveyor, project manager, which is the same firm. We've got the architect as well on board. Yeah.
Exciting times. Are you looking
Yeah.
for the next project already? Because I know that you've always got loads of plans in the fire.
Well, funnily enough, my son is doing his work experience next week for 2 weeks with me. Uh,
Excellent.
and he was like, "What am I going to be doing?" And I was like, I know how to put you to work. Let's create another deal funnel."
Well, he sounds like he's good at it.
He's very good at it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's great at block planning. It's brilliant.
That's fantastic. That's brilliant. What does the future look like for MHBQ?
Well, first of all, exciting. If we can, we're at the point we're still waiting to exchange on this because we are finalising the cost plan. So get this exchange, get it into planning, get it approved. The
Hmm.
future is not just to be a one-trick pony and just do this one. We're
Hmm.
definitely going to be going out and doing a lot more.
Brilliant.
Absolutely, yeah.
I love that. And
The,
you
the
have
hunger is there.
the hunger, the passion, the
Absolutely,
energy,
absolutely,
the
100%.
desire to do it is so important, wouldn't you
Yeah,
agree?
yeah, definitely. You've really got to want it.
Hmm.
It depends on how bad you want it.
Hmm.
And I wanted it very badly because I don't have a retirement plan.
Hmm.
I saw my parents through their old age and their illnesses. And it gave me a reality check, really. The reality check being that come my old age, I actually haven't got a future financially. Uh,
Hmm.
and I want to be able to, although it sounds a bit morbid, but by the time I get to that point, I want to be able to potentially be at home and be looked after at home.
Hmm.
But to do that, I'll need to be financially stable enough to be able to afford that in the future.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm working towards. And then, of course, my son, he wants to rule the world and he wants to take over my company as well. So, yeah.
Brilliant. I think
uh,
that's incredible.
a running joke between me and him. So, in the course, as you know, I think it's Ian or it might be even Richie who say, "We're not looking for you to be a Richard. We're looking for you to be a Trevor." So the running joke between me and my son is he's going to be the Richard and I'm going to be the Trevor.
With Trevor. Brilliant. I love that. That's excellent. The one thing I've noticed from the conversations that we've had, and I have this with many students at Property CEO, they've all come from different backgrounds. Yours was banking. You're in the sort of finance sector. And there are students from many different kind of realms. They've got all different types of tenure. The past is very different from what they're doing now in development. Would you say that the skills from banking, from your finance days, were kind of transferable into what you were doing now in development?
Absolutely, very much so. It's funny, for over a decade of doing driving instructing, when I started on this journey, it came back very quickly.
Yeah,
All that corporate thinking, being able to put things together, being able to analyze things. It all came flooding back. And yes, ultimately, I have used those skills in this.
and even your driving instructor skills, because you've got to be a people's person to run
Absolutely,
a
100%.
successful business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. In terms of education, more important because I used my own training skills with my students to transition to this. So what I mean by that is I teach students intensively to pass their driving test within a week or 2 weeks. So for example, on a Monday, they can't even move a car. and by the Friday they're on a driving test. So there are a lot of times where they can't see that there's method in the madness. Gonna get through.
Yeah.
So I took that mentality for myself and went, you can't see it, but this does work as a model.
So put your faith in the process.
Put your faith in the process, put your
Yeah.
faith in the training, and you will succeed.
Brilliant.
And
You're providing a clear roadmap,
yes,
right, for your students when you're teaching them how to drive.
absolutely. And I'm just taking that mentality that in this process, I'm the student. So yes, I have had a lot of doubts, a lot of wobbles, but the goal is clear. This is what I wanted to do. This is how I was going to set out to do it. And it was a real big shift in mindset as well, because I hear a lot of people say, can't find a deal, you can't do it, it's too difficult. And I remember the first time when I came into the room and I heard that, and I was like, no, I am going to find a deal. There is something out there. We can do it.
Yeah.
That's not me being cocky or, being overconfident. That's just me thinking to myself, I will do it.
And you're putting the faith in the process, your faith in the system.
Absolutely.
And because, you know that there is going to be that result at the end.
Yes.
And the thing is, you're a real go-getter. You have that can-do attitude.
Very much so.
And it really it shines through every time we meet up and we talk.
Yeah.
I think that you've got this cracking relationship with a vendor, and building relationships in this business is so important.
Yeah.
And you're incredibly good at doing that.
Again, thank you. One of my key things within banking was relationship building. So we had to make relationships with the clients, with the customers, maintain them, problem solve for them. So again, that transferable skill kind of came into this.
Amazing. What would you say? I really appreciate the insight here, Aisha. It's really good to get some real life insight into what you're working on. What would you say to anyone that's kind of sitting on the fence, that's thinking, they're mildly interested, they might want to dip their toe in the water, maybe they've been thinking about getting into development for some time or transitioning into property? What would you say for people that are kind of sitting on the fence, they're not sure if they need some extra support or extra help?
I think the first thing is, if you're thinking of going into this, get yourself an education and get yourself the right education. That's a really important thing, because especially for me, at least, I would not have done this had I not come on the mentorship. I'm not the sort of person to be able to go out and buy a property and then kind of figure it out afterwards. For me, I need to know what I'm getting into and understand what the processes are before actually doing it. Again, like I said, when you look at the process and you think, yeah, right, how's this going to work? I can't see this working, but now I'm actually in the development. I can see how it all flows. I've learned a lot. So yeah, I just say get up and do it. You've got to take action. If you're not going to take action, you're not going to get anywhere.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. And you've gone out and raised fund. You've done the whole thing. You've done this from grassroots. You've raised all the funding for the project.
Yeah, so we started with raising the funding, and then we had a little bit of a hiccup with it because what we're needing and what we were actually achieving wasn't quite right. But again, we've been talking to people, and again, the feedback is, yeah, get us a brochure, get us your figures, we'll be interested. Brilliant. So we have no fear that we're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's excellent. And if anyone wants to reach out to you, how can they reach out to you?
So they can reach out to me through my email, which is Aisha at MHBQ Developments.co.uk, or my mobile number 07812 182 424, or of course they can contact propertyCEO and do it through that.
And we'll put all of the details in the sort of information around this particular podcast, which is brilliant. Aisha, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. It's always an absolute pleasure to see you.
Thank you. It's really good to see you. And yeah, it's nice to chat about it, to be honest, and
it is
hopefully help somebody else out.
And you'll only be doing that through this. And I can't wait to see you again. We always have such a laugh when we get
Yeah,
together.
do. Absolutely.
Thanks so much for coming on. All
Thank
right.
you.
Have a good day. Take
Take
care.
care.
I'll see you
Bye.
again soon. All the best. How incredible was that? A deep dive into a real life student here at Property CEO. Very, very interesting indeed. And that could be you. That could be you. With all these things that are happening in property at the moment and the government's drive on housing, is now a good time to be getting into producing new homes? It probably is, isn't it? It probably is. So if you would like some further help and some support before you take the kind of the big plunge into property development, and you want to understand a little bit more about how some of this stuff works, maybe dip your toe in the water, grab a pen and a piece of paper and write this down. Okay. So we're going to give you something that's really going to help. So if this is new for you, come and dip your toe in the water, a bit of free training, just write this down. So it's propertyceo.co.uk/SFR. And the SFR stands for six figure roadmap. Okay, that's six figures in terms of the profits that you can earn. That again is propertyceo.co.uk/SFR. And this is a bit of free training for a limited period of time. And it's just going to tell you about the basics on how you can get started in property development. All right. So hopefully you've enjoyed today. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed these episodes. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you all back here again very, very soon. Goodbye.